You know what? It wouldn't be a Shelby Vlogmas if things didn't go wrong, would it? So we're just sticking to tradition here. Hi, it's me. I'm the problem. So I saw on Instagram that I would be doing my version of Vlogmas on this channel, mainly because I miss having a space that isn't revolving around just one thing. Like, I feel I've evolved so much as a person over the last so many years. I've been online since 2016 in a public way, right? Yes. And so that's 8 years. And obviously I've changed as a person a lot since then. And I sometimes don't really know how to communicate that within the niche that my main channel is. And I've always wanted somewhere personal to do other stuff just because I don't know. I feel a need to be understood. One of my greatest triggers, I guess you would say, in life is being perceived in some way that is false to me. And so I think that's a lot of why I've always wanted a personal space. And so I've tried the vlog channel. Madison was a huge help to me with that. I couldn't really do it by myself. And then I tried my secret newsletters. If you were around back then, let me know in the comments. And I've always just discovered I'm just not great with the consistency, because this is a lot of work to do when it's not your full-time thing. And especially because the videos I would do for the vlog channel specifically were very involved. It wasn't like me sitting down and answering questions, which is what we're going to be doing today, which if that's all I had to do on this channel, I probably could do it on my own once a week, but it just never was something I could do consistently. And I hate when I can't be consistent with things. All of that being said, I decided to do this version of Vlogmas for that reason, in big part. But another big reason is because Catherine Kellogg, my business partner, one of my best friends, a fellow content creator here on YouTube, Instagram, she wanted to do Vlogmas with me, and we were going to do it kind of in tag team style. And I loved that idea. Basically, she created an advent calendar. I had every intention of doing the same. And in true Shelby Vlogmas fashion, it just didn't come to fruition for me. I still am going to do Vlogmas. I'm going to do the whole decorating with you. I have so many crafts that I want to do for decorations for my home, but also for gifts for my family. And I feel like in doing that, I will just naturally talk about a lot of the things here. But I also asked to do the kickoff of this Vlogmas with a Q&A because, well, I haven't uploaded here in a long time, and there's been a lot that has happened in my life. And you're getting this video not on the normal first day of Vlogmas, specifically because Tippy had to go to the emergency room last night while we were out of town for Thanksgiving. Oh my God, this makes me so anxious. My friend was supposed to help me take care of Tippy, and she kind of decided really short notice that she would not be doing that for me. And so I had to hire a rover who I had never used before, which is really, it gives me a lot of anxiety, obviously. I just haven't had to use one really since we've been here because we've taken a big step back on traveling, and because we have friends who can help us. Obviously around the holidays that gets a little bit more complicated because people are doing things with their families, etc. Anyway, I was supposed to meet this rover before we left town, but then they got sick and it just didn't work out. So I was already anxious about that. And then she ended up telling me that Tippy wasn't getting out of bed, that he wasn't able to move. He didn't seem to be able to get up. And so I had my friend come over here and check on him, and turns out he couldn't walk on one of his legs, which is never ever happened to him before. And so in a panic, I came home. We took him to the emergency room. Very expensive vet bill later. Seems like he has some disc issues and some, what else did they say? Disc issues and, I keep wanting to say anxiety, but it's not, it's another A word, arthritis. And he maybe overextended himself while we were gone. I have cameras everywhere in this house. And so I looked through all the cameras to see what he did to himself, and I can't see what happened. Regardless, this whole situation has been awful for me. And so Vlogmas is always hard for me, let alone trying to balance what's going on with him, my regular work schedule, and then this too. So we're just going to do the things that I'm going to do anyway. And we'll probably be sitting right here for most of what my version of Vlogmas will be, crafting and answering questions that you have that I would love you to leave any that you have that I don't cover in this video in the comment section. But I asked on Instagram what questions you have to kick off this version of my Vlogmas. And I'm gonna read some of them, and maybe we'll cover some of them throughout the Vlogmas. whole thing. Oh, also, yeah, the reason my phone is sitting up here is because I have a camera upstairs on him currently. He is sleeping in our bedroom. Madison is working in our bedroom, but like she's actively working and can't just like stare at him. So he's laying in that chair in the corner because that's where he wanted to be. He tried to jump up there himself. So I put him up there, and I'm just making sure he doesn't try to jump down on his own. So that's why we have that set up. The vet has him on a few different meds and bed rest. And so he's fine as long as he just kind of stays there. Anyway, let's answer some questions. I'm trying to focus on ones that are more like entry level, not like the deep dark ones that some of you have asked, which we will. We'll get into, just not right now. But one of the ones that's here is, what's a Christmas tradition at your house that makes you fuzzy inside? You know what? I don't know if a lot of them make me fuzzy. At my house in particular, we have our own version of a Christmas tree. And I feel really proud of our version of a Christmas tree because, and I get some comments online when I share our Christmas tree that like, it's sad. People will be like, this is so sad that you like let environmentalism take over your life to the point where you don't even have a Christmas tree. But it's not really about the environmental impact of the Christmas tree. I feel that you can be an environmentalist and pick and choose the things that matter the most to you and adjust accordingly. Christmas trees have never been that for me, and so it's not that I'm like super worried about the impact. If I cared, I would just get a fake tree. I just honestly like the look and style and functionality of our shelf Christmas tree better. And I think it's really fun because it's a tradition that Madison and I started ourselves. I think the year we got married, we did it once in our San Antonio house and twice here. So this is our 4th year having it. Am I doing the math there right? We had it in 21 and then we did it in 22 and 23. Okay, so this is our 4th year having it. And I just like that it's a tradition we made for ourselves. I like that it's like our own unique idea and it makes me happy. Let's see. Other than that, I really like decorations. Like I guess a lot of the traditions in our home revolve around the decorations that I make every year. And the reason that I like to make my decorations is because I feel like a lot of decorations are so small. Like these little trees here, they're cute and whatever. I bought them from a small locally made person, but they're so small. And I prefer for things to have like a real impact for decorations. And I don't want to store something like that, right? Something that's like really big and takes up a lot of space. And so I like to make my own decorations because I can make them big. And specifically like my big display of snowflakes I like because it can be folded down and stored for the next year. I just like making my own decorations. I feel like they make things so much more special. And yeah, I think just my decorations overall give me the warm, fuzzy feeling. Oh, another tradition I started with Madison's nephews, I guess our nephews, is going to the beach during, what is it called? Like when we're there for Christmas break, we'll go there a little bit early and we'll take them to the beach. And well, first we'll take them to the thrift store. And I usually tell them they can pick 5 things and they'll each get 5 things. And then we go to the beach and then we use sand and sand buckets to make sandmen. And we make it like a little competition to see who can win with the best sandman. That's been a really, really fun, very Texas tradition that I like kind of made up. And they've gotten a lot of joy out of. And it just gives us something to do that's like, it's not free because we do go to the thrift store and buy a few things. Sorry, Tippy's moving. He's just getting cozy. But it's like really low cost, right? It's not like taking them to like Chuck E. Cheese or what do kids like to do? Like the trampoline park. Like those things get so expensive. Whereas I can go spend like $20-$30 at the thrift store and like they get a lot more joy out of it. And it's a longer entertainment and like everyone's interacting than like being in an arcade. You know what I mean? Okay, I see another question, which I think we're going to do a whole reaction video, either on this channel or I might do it live on my channel, but it's the new Buy Now documentary on Netflix. I have not watched it yet. I will watch it, and if I don't do a full reaction here, I'll do it over there. Somewhere you will see it. I will be watching it, although I feel like it's going to be kind of like a synopsis of things I always say, but we have to see, we have to watch. Okay, what are some of the best thrifted gifts to give? Well, I talked about this in my gift guide, so if you haven't seen my gift guide, go check it out. But I think some of the best gifts I've ever given were not because they were secondhand. I didn't go looking for them like at a thrift store, you know what I mean? Like, oh, this would make a good gift. I think the best gifts I've given that were secondhand were because the person asked for it and I found it secondhand, right? Like something that I knew someone wanted or needed and I was able to get it secondhand. So And the things that I get for my family are quite utility, I feel, because they ask for specific things. And like last year I bought my mom, what are those things called? The things you use for moving, a dolly. I bought her a dolly. I bought it on Facebook, but it was exactly what she needed. And so that's a good one. I also bought her this like very expensive, I think they called it like a chef's shelf or something. I don't know what it was, but knew they were like $400 or $500. And I got one for less than $100 on Facebook Marketplace. And she really liked that because she couldn't, like, it's one of those things that like she couldn't have bought it new. Like she just couldn't afford to do that. And so, and I don't spend that much on Christmas gifts. So I was able to give her exactly what she wanted, but within our budgets. And so that's a really good one too. I talk about more of the like kind of more universal gifts in my gift guide. So I'll leave it there for that. Someone asked me, how do I get my perfect hair curls? Maybe we'll cover that in Vlogmas. It's actually really, really simple. And I've done it before in an older video when we were in Vermont. I walked you through it, but I can do it again in Vlogmas. How to deal with not accepting crap for Christmas. I come from a shopaholics family. Me too. I talked about that a lot. Me too. Actually, over the Thanksgiving break was the first time my mom she proposed it like it was a novel idea. I've been asking my mom to stop buying me stuff for Christmas for like at least 10 years, like at least a decade at this point, and she never stopped. I asked her to stop initially for environmental reasons because I just didn't want stuff. Once I like entered college and realized what consumerism was doing to the planet, I just didn't want anything. And then as we got further into it, it was like also a financial issue for her. Like I was like, you don't need to be buying me anything. And then I graduated from college and I was like, I'm an adult with my own money. Like you really don't need to buy stuff. And she just like couldn't fight the urge to want to do it. And then this year, the other day, she proposed not buying gifts for Christmas and then going on like a family vacation instead. And I've gotten everyone on my side over the years of like proposing we don't do the gifts thing anymore. And they were all like, why did you just say that? Like Shelby hasn't been saying that for a decade. Like, why did you just propose this like it's a new idea? Anyway, that was not an answer to your question. Over the years, for me, what has worked, the only thing that has worked when my mom refused to stop buying things was creating a wish list and telling people what you actually want so that you don't end up getting stuff that is just going to get thrown away or take up space in your home or get donated or whatever you do with your stuff. You can try to explain to them why you don't want a bunch of stuff. And that can be for, like I was just describing, environmental reasons. You don't have room in your home for stuff. It can be for environmental reasons if they care, financial reasons. There's all kinds of reasons. But what I find from my shopaholic family was reasoning didn't work. And what worked for me was just like saving things throughout the year. Like I made a wish list and throughout the year, everyone had access to it. And throughout the years, I thought of things that I needed or even wanted. I would just put it on there. And that's what worked best for me. And so that's my best advice. Okay, this question is, how do you get past being viewed as weird for DIYing decor instead of buying stuff? And I get the same question with like gifts and things like that. Like I've seen people ask me when I use reusable gift wrap, like how do you ask for it back? How do you not be seen as rude or weird or whatever it is? You know what this makes me think of? This is like very tangential, but I think this will make a lot of sense. Like I already said, I do come from a shopaholic family. I do come from a judgmental family. I do come from a family of people who do not live or do the things that I do. I am who I am in a lot of ways in spite of the way I was raised and where I come from. And so when people ask me, how do I deal with like being perceived as weird? That's been my whole life. Like I've always been, my therapist at some point explained to me that the reason that I might be so passionate about different things, different injustices, environmentalism obviously specifically, but that a lot of that might be tied to the fact that in my family unit, like my nuclear family, I was always the outsider. And so I'm just kind of used to living in that space. But regardless, the anecdote I wanted to give you is that I was, again, at my parents' house this last weekend, and I've been wearing this hat. I mean, I wear hats all the time. I have so many hats that I have thrifted because I wear them like pretty much every day if my hair isn't fresh. Today we have fresh hair. It's actually looking quite red in the camera. But if my hair isn't fresh, I'm probably going to be wearing a hat because I'm very serious about skin protection, sun protection from the sun. And also I just think it looks cute. It goes with a lot of outfits. It helps me accessorize, etc. So I was wearing this Austin Public Library hat. And I had it sitting out because I was going to put it on with my jacket before I was leaving. And my dad was sitting next to it. And he was like, Shelby, why have you been wearing that hat? And at first I thought he was referring to the fact that it said Austin Public Library, which I think is a cool hat because like most hats are advertisements for brands, like they're brand logos. The hats my dad wears, like that's what they are. And I know a lot of people do that. And so I thought it was cool to have a hat that's like not like selling anything or marketing anything other than like a public library, which is, yeah, anyway. And so I thought that's what he was talking about. And at first I just like, that's how I was approaching it. And I was like, what do you mean? What does that mean? And he just repeated the question. And I said, well, why do most people wear hats, Dad? Like, what the heck? And he was like, I wear it to protect my head because his hair is so thin. Like, obviously, I don't have that problem. And I was like, oh, well, I wear it to keep the sun out of my face. Like, I feel like that's why most people wear hats. And he goes, girls don't wear hats. It's not unexpected for my dad to say something like that. But in the moment, like, when things don't make sense to me, like, I can be very, like, consumed by things that don't make sense to me. And so I like, ever since then, I've just been thinking like, what about me? What part of who I am as a person makes you think that I care what girls are supposed to wear? And also, that's like objectively just not even true. Like girls definitely wear hats. I say all that to say my family definitely thinks I'm weird. I am definitely always an outsider and I am seen as weird in my family all the time. And that's just like one of the most recent examples. So I don't think it bothers me when people think I'm weird or rude for doing the things I do. If I have a reason that is important to me for doing it, that is my primary priority. Like my priorities in life are based around my values. And if the things I'm doing align with those values, I really don't care how other people judge me, but I am very used to being the person that is judged. And I think when people ask me this question, like, how do you deal with the judgment or how do you feel with being weird or being rude or whatever the things are that people judge us for doing because we're different, it just doesn't really hit me the same way I think it hits a lot of people. No one's ever said anything to me specifically, I think, about it being weird that I DIY my decorations. Some people do think it's, oh, Shelby's just weird when I ask for my reusable gift bags back, but no one's ever said I'm like rude or been like offended by it. I think my family just expects me to be a little weird, and so that's fine. But yeah, I think you just have to decide at the end of the day what's important to you and why you're doing what you're doing, and then all the other things that come, you know, after the fact of people judging you for whatever reason kind of come second, because your priorities, your morals, your values, all those things comes first. Rose, looks like this person's name is Rose. Shout out. They said, has your hair routine changed since going redder? Red hair can be so hard to maintain, which is so true. And I remember when I was talking to my stylist when I was getting it done, I have reference from when I had red hair in college and it would fade so much. So I was like pretty much going into it with the knowing that it would be temporary, that I would just get it done once at the beginning of fall. I would let it fade until probably the new year. And then maybe for my birthday, I'll go back and do my balayage like normal. That's kind of my plan, but I'm not maintaining it in any certain way. My stylist did recommend I use like a color depositing conditioner, like a hair mask. And so I thought about buying that, but at the end of the day, like, again, I'm looking at it as very temporary thing. I really only wanted it for the fall. And so if it fades to, honestly, like kind of like my natural color, just a little bit more on the like warm side is kind of how it is right now, I feel. I think it'll just make it a little bit easier to go back to normal balayage after the holidays. So I'm not really doing a whole lot to it. But if you do have red hair, I think color depositing hair masks are like the most efficient way to go about it, especially if you don't want to go to the salon all the time. I normally only get my hair done once, maybe twice a year. It's just kind of holding what it is holding for now, and what it's not, I'm just letting it go because it was really only meant to be a fall thing anyway. And red is very much a temporary thing for most people and definitely for me. Okay, honestly, there are so many more questions. I didn't know there were so many more, but I feel like I've already been talking for so much, mainly because of the life update in the beginning. But I just realized for one of your questions that I did not address the fact that Madison's not gonna be in a lot of these videos, at least not in a way that's like it used to be. It definitely should have said that at the beginning, so I apologize for that. But Madison, like, she does love vlogging, and she's talked about maybe like doing a shorter version of it, like weekly like reels or shorts. And I think we've talked about this a lot, and I hope that there's a freaking moth we'll have to talk about. I have a moth invasion right now. It's the ADHD. Okay, anyway, so yeah, so she does like vlogging. She just works a normal job, and I usually work the same hours as her. That's like my typical schedule, is to also work the same hours as her. But when we were vlogging, it was like kind of having a second job, at least for her. And it just got to be too much once we moved here and started prioritizing building community in the way of like friends, but also building community in the way of our neighbors, and also building community in the way of advocacy in this, like for city council and things going on around our city, and being involved in different nonprofits and campaigns and stuff like that. We've just been genuinely so busy. Like, we are always so busy doing so much stuff that with other people, though, is the thing. Like, I think I discovered that vlogging when you are not doing anything and vlogging when you are doing too much is really, really hard. And what we were able to find in the vlog channel throughout the pandemic, and when we lived in San Antonio, because we didn't have really friends or community, that was the sweet spot, where like we were always doing projects on our home or in the garden, or we had like a handful of friends that were like completely comfortable, knew who we were, knew that we vlogged, didn't mind being on it. And then Bailey and Greg moved to California, and we moved to Austin, and everyone's lives started to look very different. Bailey and Greg, I don't know if any of you guys followed her from back in the day, but they had a baby. And, you know, they were in our vlogs a lot back in the day. And Brittany and Cameron moved to Dallas, my sister and her husband. And, you know, we didn't have the like little community support system that we had there, and we had to go out and find it. And I think we definitely have done that. But for the most part, with people who didn't know we ever had a vlog channel, let alone wanted to be in them. That was a big reason why we had to take a step back, but also just the time. Like, if Madison was spending a solid like 6 to 8 hours, which seems wild that it took her that long to edit the vlogs, but I digress. In addition to the actual vlogging, we wouldn't have the time, genuinely, to do all the things that we've done in the work in our neighborhood, in our communities, in the friendships that we've invested in. We just can't do it all, unfortunately, and also have regular jobs. Yeah, I don't know if Madison's going to be in it in the same capacity, like for my version of Vlogmas this year. Actually, I know she will not be in it in the same capacity, and I hope that you're still okay with that. Although some of the questions I've seen here, I really, really like the questions, and I will ask her to sit down and do some of these with me. And she is taking off every Friday in December, so she will be here for some of them, just not all of them probably, and not in the same capacity that you might be used to if you've been subscribed to this channel for a while. And if you're not subscribed to the Shelby Madison channel, you should probably hit that subscribe button. Stick around. We'll chat all things sustainability, community activism, introvert anxiety, my elder cat who is dealing with some things. What else do we talk about on this channel? What else am I gonna talk about on this channel? DIYs. We're gonna do some crafty stuff. Yeah, that's kind of what the vibe is gonna be like. But if you want a more, you know, maybe a better curated version of Vlogmas that's not so hodgepodge together like mine will be, go check out Catherine's, because she's got some really good ideas, and she is wanting to be on YouTube more. I love this platform so much, and I've been trying to convince her to do more YouTube for so long. So if you're into that kind of thing, go check her out too. But yeah, I think this is how it's going to be for me this year, and I hope you can enjoy that, because that's just where we're at in the world. Okay, I'll give you guys a more thorough update on Tippy 2 in the future, but right now I need to go check on him and edit this video so that you can see it. Okay, bye.